I'm still alive, and unfortunately I got a haircut. So I'm just gonna put on my Senate and People of Rome hat, and we're gonna pretend that I don't look like a pencil without it. But anyway, this week I almost got into car crashes for 2.5 hours straight. Okay, so how did this happen? So as some of you may know, I am 16 years old, and one of the things most people do my age is learn to drive. I got my driver's license on Black Friday 2023, and I was done with it. But once a year, a defensive driving course comes through town, so I signed up for it. So going into this class, I didn't really know what to expect. All I did know was that it was held at our city's raceway. So quite logically, I might add, I thought that we would be learning on the racetrack. And I don't think that that is a crazy thing to think. But when we get there, I find out that the class is held entirely in the parking lot. I don't know about you, but to me that seems intentionally misleading. But anyway, my dad and I walk in, we fill out some paperwork and sit down. We watch this orientation video, and then all of the teenagers get divided up into 3 groups. My group goes outside to the parking lot, we go over some safety stuff, and then it's time to get in the cars. So going into this, the staff explained to us that we would be in the car with one instructor and another teen. However, by sheer luck, I'm alone! Hooray for social anxiety. Now I can talk to an adult, no problem. It doesn't matter how old they are. One of my best friends is 81. But if you make me talk to another teen, I turn into Awkward McGee. What am I gonna say? Have you listened to the new Anna music album, bro? That future retro track is straight fire. I don't have anything in common with other teenagers. But tangent aside, it's just me and the instructor in the car, and I learned what I'm gonna be doing for the next 3 hours. Here I thought we'd just be practicing like slowing down or something, but no. They have us going through a series of 3 scenario-based driving challenges. And I learned that we are starting with the most difficult of them all, called skid. Now, I'm a pretty nervous driver, especially when I'm not driving the car I'm used to, so going in, I was pretty worried. The way this one worked is they put a plastic covering over the back 2 wheels so that when you turn at any kind of speed, it causes you to spin out of control. This is essentially to simulate hydroplaning or ice on the road. And let me ask you if you think it's nerve-wracking to spin out of control when you're behind the wheel. Like, seriously, I'm asking. I have no idea if you're supposed to be scared. Because for some reason, I wasn't at all. I don't know if it's because it didn't feel real and I was just disassociating, or I'm descended from like street racers, but I was totally calm the entire time. Doing a 180 in like 2 seconds? No problem. Switching to the other lane? Terrifying. There is something wrong with me. See, I did that one for about an hour, and I got better at controlling the way the car moved when it was spinning out, but I'm by no means good at it. Then we switched to the next activity, which was about switching lanes quickly if something was blocking your path. And also part of this activity was something called a slalom. No, this isn't a new type of Italian sausage released in the latest update. It's actually a curved set of cones that you have to navigate through in one continuous motion with the wheel. So I did that activity for a little less than an hour, just like the last one, and then I moved on to the final one, which for me was the scariest. It started with a straight path, with a pole with a picture of a skater at the end. The game was called Don't Hit Yeah, that guy. And essentially I had to accelerate up to 35 miles per hour and then slam on the brakes when the instructor yelled it out. Now, if that sounds terrifying to you, then you have a pretty accurate idea of what I was feeling doing this course. If I just react slowly or I freeze up, then I'm gonna plunge into this metal pole disguised as pro skater Tony Hawk. But fortunately, it was all nerves and it ended up being fine. You live this time, Tony. Oh yeah, one more thing. Partway through the last course, I was directed to an area that is meant to simulate what distracted driving is like. The instructor turned the radio all the way up to 100, started firing off questions at me, and then I had to drive around in a circle. I navigated through that part pretty easily, but then he put drunk goggles on me, and I had to get as close as possible and centered in a parking spot without messing up. So if you don't know, drunk goggles are supposed to mimic what it's like being drunk. And let me tell you, I couldn't see anything. It was just like blurry lines. However, somehow I managed to put the car in the exact perfect spot. I have no idea how I did that. But anyway, it ended pretty quickly after that and we headed back inside. They gave a speech about how important driving experience is for new drivers, and then we wrapped up. And the last thing they said to all of the parents was, "Who's driving home?" And then everyone yelled back, "Teens!" So I turned to my dad and I was like, "Look, it's a 45-minute drive." So I'm pretty sure I am the only student in that class who did not drive home. It was a long drive, alright? But this was a great class, and it's called Brakes if any of you want to try it out. I called it the Disneyland of driving schools while I was there, and I stand by that. Also, I'm pretty sure it's free if you don't break anything. This isn't sponsored or anything, by the way. Or maybe it is and we're being paid millions. You'll never know. Nate, I'll see you on Monday.